Coffee's ready, I called out, setting her mug on the counter. Thanks, babe, Lena said, rushing out of the bedroom, phone in hand. Her heels clicked like an alarm. I'm late again. Ryan moved the meeting earlier. Ryan. The name had started to feel like static in my ears. You've had a lot of early meetings lately, I said, half smiling. She slipped on her blazer, barely looking up. That's what happens when business grows. You should be proud. I am, I said quietly. Just don't forget to eat something real. Coffee isn't breakfast. She kissed my cheek, quick and cold. You worry too much. I'll grab something later. The door shut behind her, leaving a silence that felt louder than her voice. I stared at the untouched toast on her plate, wondering when she stopped finishing breakfast with me. At work, I tried focusing on my designs, but her voice echoed in my head. Ryan this, Ryan that. I told myself it was harmless. Trust was supposed to be the foundation, right? That night, she came home late again. Traffic was insane, she said, throwing her bag on the couch. Her perfume hit me. Sweet, expensive, too strong. I smiled, trying not to sound needy. Long meeting? Yeah, investors are tough, she said, slipping off her heels. Her lipstick was smudged. Her hair messy. Not work messy, something else. I stared at her, then looked away before she noticed. You okay? She asked, frowning slightly. Just tired. I lied. She walked over, touched my shoulder. You've been distant lately, have I? Yes, you barely talk anymore. I wanted to laugh. She barely came home anymore. I guess I'm just adjusting, I said. You've been busy. Things feel different. Her hand froze on my arm. Different how? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, she sighed, annoyed. Ethan, please don't start this. I can't deal with jealousy right now. Work is stressful enough. Jealousy? I repeated. Yes. Every time I mention Ryan, you tense up. It's getting old. I bit the inside of my cheek. I'm not jealous, just curious. Curious about what? She snapped. You think something's going on? Her tone made me feel small, stupid, like I was the problem. No. I trust you, I said softly. Good, she said, walking past me toward the bedroom, because I don't want to fight. Not tonight, I followed slowly. Lena! She stopped at the door, exhaling hard. What now? Do you still love me? She turned, eyes tired. Of course I do. Why would you even ask that? Because sometimes, I said, you say all the right words, but they don't sound like you anymore. She laughed without humor. You're overthinking. You always do that when you're stressed. Maybe she was right, or maybe I was finally starting to see. When she went to shower, her phone lit up on the dresser. I didn't mean to look, but the screen flashed bright in the dim room. A message, Ryan. Can't stop thinking about last night. My chest tightened. My hands shook. She walked out, towel in her hair, humming. What's wrong? Nothing, I said quickly, setting the phone face down. Just checking the time. She smiled faintly. You're acting weird again. I'm fine. Good. Because I need to sleep. Tomorrow's another long day, I nodded. Right, another meeting. When she turned off the light, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My mind kept repeating the message. Can't stop thinking about last night, I didn't ask. I didn't scream. I didn't leave. I just froze in the quiet, drowning in the sound of her breathing beside me. The next morning, I watched her pack her laptop bag again. Same meeting? I asked. Yeah, she said, smiling too easily. Wish me luck. Good luck, I said, forcing a smile. And Lena? She paused at the door. Yeah? I trust you, her lips curved faintly. You should. When the door shut again, I sat down on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. My throat burned. My stomach turned. I tried to convince myself that I believed my own words. But deep down, something inside me cracked. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. Just a quiet, invisible break, one I didn't even realize would never heal. I trust you, Lena, I whispered again to no one. But I don't think I believe myself anymore. Lena, you're home late again. She dropped her purse on the counter. Meetings ran long. Ryan's team can't follow a schedule to save their lives, I smiled weakly. Ryan again, she looked up. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just sounds like he's keeping you busy. That's his job, she said, crossing her arms. Mine too. I nodded, pretending not to notice how she stepped back when I reached for her hand. You're tired. Want me to warm dinner? Already ate, she said quickly. Ryan grabbed us sushi. Right. I forced a laugh. Business sushi, she narrowed her eyes. Are you seriously jealous of food now? No, just trying to talk. Well, stop trying so hard. I'm exhausted, her words cut, soft but sharp. I stood there while she disappeared into the bedroom. The walls felt closer than usual. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. The glow of her phone lit up the room. It buzzed once. Then again, she turned in her sleep. I hesitated, then picked it up. Just one message on the lock screen. Ryan, can't wait to see you again tomorrow. My stomach dropped. I set the phone down, careful not to make a sound. The next morning, I asked, You been working on weekends now? She poured coffee. Yeah, deadlines don't wait. Why? No reason. Just wondering if you'll ever get a break. She smiled faintly. Maybe when this project ends. When will that be? She shrugged. Soon, I hope. I nodded, but my hands trembled around the mug. That evening, I tried again. Lena, can we talk? She sighed. About what? About us. She froze, half turning. What about us? You seem distant lately. I'm just busy. Busy or avoiding me? Her voice hardened. Ethan, not everything revolves around you. I didn't say it did. But I miss you. You come home, eat, and sleep. That's all we do now. That's what marriage is, she muttered. Routine. That's not how it used to be. People change, she said, looking away. I haven't. Maybe that's the problem. Her words hit like a slap. So now being steady is a flaw? Don't twist my words, she snapped. I'm saying we're growing differently. That's not a crime. I just want honesty, she laughed, short and humorless. You're making drama out of nothing. Then tell me I'm wrong. You are wrong, she said instantly. Then why can't you look me in the eye when you say it? She turned away, pretending to adjust her sleeve. Because this conversation is stupid. Ryan and I are building something real. Professionally. Professionally? I repeated. You sure that's all? Her head jerked up. Excuse me? You heard me. Wow. She shook her head. You really think that little of me? I think I know when something's off. She stepped closer, anger flashing in her eyes. Don't make me feel guilty for working hard, Ethan. Just because you can't handle a confident woman doesn't mean I'm cheating. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you meant. Her voice rose, sharp enough to split the quiet. I looked at her, my heart hammering. If there's nothing going on, why are you so defensive? Because you keep accusing me of things I haven't done. I'm asking questions, I said quietly. You're interrogating me. She shouted. Do you even hear yourself? Silence followed, thick and cold. I swallowed hard. You used to tell me everything. When did that stop? When you stopped listening, she said. I'm listening now. Too late, she muttered, grabbing her bag. I'm staying at my sister's tonight. Maybe some space will help you think straight. I didn't stop her. The door slammed, echoing through the empty apartment. For a while, I just stood there staring at the dent her keys left on the counter. My reflection in the dark window looked like a stranger. I whispered, She's lying, isn't she? But no one answered. The fridge hummed softly. The clock ticked too loud. I sat down, elbows on my knees, trying to breathe. Don't overthink, Ethan. But the image of her flinching when I touched her, the way her eyes darted away whenever Ryan's name came up, it all replayed in my mind. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe I was right. Either way, I couldn't shake the sound of her voice as she walked out. Don't make me feel guilty for working hard. That line looped in my head until it didn't sound like her defending herself. It sounded like her warning me to stop digging, and that's when I realized the truth wasn't hiding in her phone or her schedule. It was hiding in the way she stopped loving me, one lie at a time. Dinner's still hot, I said, staring at the clock. You're already 30 minutes late. Her text came in instead of her voice. Meeting extended. Don't wait up. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Sure, I whispered to no one. The food went cold. The house stayed quiet. My phone didn't ring again. When I finally heard a knock, it wasn't her. Ethan, Grace said, stepping inside. You look like hell. Thanks, sis. Always a mood booster. I called 3 times. You didn't answer. I've been busy. She looked around. Busy doing what? Counting minutes? I tried to smile. She's just working late. Grace's eyes narrowed. You're still buying that story? What story? The one she keeps feeding you about Ryan and those endless meetings? I sighed. Not you too. Ethan, wake up. She's lying to you. You know it, I shook my head. You don't know Lena. Maybe I know liars, she said quietly. And she smells like one. I didn't want to hear it. Grace, stop. She was on the phone when I came in, she continued. She didn't hear me at first. I heard her whispering, something about checking in before tomorrow night. My throat tightened. You sure? I'm not blind, she said. She looked guilty the second she saw me. I rubbed my face. You're reading too much into it. No, you're pretending not to see it. Grace, please. Just drop it. She stared at me, pity in her eyes. You're my brother. I can't just watch you drown in denial. Her words burned, but they stuck. After she left, the house felt heavier. The silence turned into noise inside my head. That night, I sat on the couch, phone in hand, waiting for Lena's message. Nothing. Midnight came. Then 1. At 1:30, the lock turned. You're still up? She asked. Yeah, I said. Dinner's still on the table. I told you not to wait. Where were you? Meeting, she said flatly. With Ryan? Does it matter? It matters if he's the reason you can't look me in the eye. She rolled her eyes. God, not this again. Grace has been talking to you, hasn't she? She didn't have to, I said. Your phone does enough talking. Are you checking my phone now? No, but you're guarding it like a secret. She grabbed her purse. I'm taking a shower. I don't have energy for this paranoia. When she disappeared into the bathroom, I whispered, I'll find out myself. The next night, I followed her. I told myself it was stupid, that I was being dramatic, but my hands still gripped the steering wheel until they hurt. She drove across town, not to the company office, but to a tall glass building with a hotel sign glowing at the top. I parked 2 blocks away. My heart raced so hard I thought it would break through my ribs. She got out, adjusting her coat. Then he appeared, Ryan Hale. Perfect suit, perfect smile. He touched her back like he'd done it before. They walked in together. I watched them disappear through the doors. Time stopped, 1 hour, then 2. Each minute felt like a blade scraping across my chest. When the elevator doors finally opened again, they came out laughing. She leaned into him, playful, glowing in a way she hadn't been in months. Ryan brushed her cheek. She didn't pull away, my stomach turned. My vision blurred. I didn't move until their car drove off. Then I started the engine, drove home in silence, and didn't even remember the streets I took. When I got back, I didn't turn on the lights. I just sat there in the dark. Her perfume still lingered in the living room, the same one I bought for her birthday. I stared at our wedding photo on the wall. Her smile looked honest there. Mine looked proud. I picked it up and whispered, I gave you everything, Lena. The picture felt heavy in my hand. I gave you love, trust, time, all of me. The glass frame caught the dim light. I traced her face with my thumb. Why wasn't I enough? No answer. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the echo of my heartbeat. I sat there until morning light crept through the window, painting everything in gray. My coffee went cold again. My body didn't move. My mind replayed every lie, every meeting, every smirk she gave when I asked too much. And still, part of me hoped I was wrong. That's the cruel part about love. Even when it kills you, you keep believing it might save you. A month passed, and for the first time in weeks, Lena walked in smiling. I have news, she said, dropping her bag on the couch. I looked up from the laptop. Good news, I hope, her eyes shimmered. I'm pregnant. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. Pregnant? She nodded, beaming. Can you believe it? We're going to be parents. My chest filled, joy, shock, disbelief all at once. Wow, that's incredible. But then something inside me twisted. The timeline, the distance, the silence between us. When did you find out? I asked. Today, the doctor confirmed it. And how far along? Almost 8 weeks, she said softly, watching me. Why do you look so weird? I forced a laugh. Just surprised, that's all. She stepped closer, taking my hands. Ethan, this could fix us. A baby, our baby, maybe it's exactly what we need. Her words hit harder than she realized. Our baby. I smiled because it was easier than speaking. Yeah, maybe it is. That night, she fell asleep fast. Her breathing was even peaceful. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling. 8 weeks. 2 months. We hadn't touched in nearly 3. My mind replayed everything. The late nights, the secret smiles, the hotel. I whispered to the dark, "Whose baby are you carrying, Lena?" The next morning, I called the clinic. "Dr. Reed's office," the nurse said. "Hi, this is Ethan Cole. I'd like to schedule a consultation, just a timeline clarification regarding conception dates." "Of course, Mr. Cole. Tomorrow morning work?" "Perfect." When I hung up, my palms were sweating. That night, Lena sat across from me, humming softly as she scrolled through baby clothes on her phone. "Do you want blue or pink?" she asked playfully. I swallowed hard. "It's too early, isn't it?" "Not to dream," she said. "Maybe it'll look like you." I nodded, pretending to laugh. "Yeah, maybe." But the thought lingered. What if it doesn't? The clinic smelled like disinfectant and quiet. Dr. Reed smiled warmly. "Ethan, it's good to see you again." "Congratulations, I hear." I forced a grin. "Thank you, doctor. I just needed to check something personal. I'm trying to understand the conception window." He nodded. "Of course. Based on her gestational age, conception likely occurred between March 12th and 18th. The dates hit me like a punch. March 12th. That was the week she was in Chicago with Ryan Hale. I kept my voice steady. "Could that window be off?" He shook his head gently. "A few days, maybe. Not more than that." "Right," I whispered. "Thank you. Everything okay?" "Yeah," I lied. "Everything's fine." I drove home numb. The world outside looked unreal, like I was watching it from behind glass. When I stepped inside, Lena was in the kitchen, humming again. Her hand rested over her small bump. "Hey, you're home early," she said. "You okay?" I nodded. "Yeah, just tired. Rough day?" "Something like that," she smiled softly. "I've been thinking about names. If it's a boy, maybe Caleb. What do you think?" I looked at her, so calm, so sure. "Caleb's nice," I said. "You're quiet," she said, tilting her head. "You're not happy?" "I am," I said automatically, but my voice didn't sound like mine. She stepped closer. "Ethan, talk to me." "What do you want me to say?" I asked. "That I'm thrilled? That I'm ready?" "You should be," she snapped. "We're having a child, are we?" Her eyes narrowed. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing," I said quickly. "Forget it." She stared at me for a moment longer, then walked away. "You're impossible lately." When she was gone, I sank onto the couch. My hands trembled. She said business meeting, I muttered, my eyes drifting to her growing belly. But it's not me she met. I closed my eyes, trying to breathe. For the first time, I wished the truth had stayed hidden, because knowing it felt worse than any lie. "You look like you're carrying a storm," Maya said, touching my shoulder. "I am," I said. "I can't sleep." "Talk to me." "It's Lena," I admitted. "Oh." She sat down. "What about her?" "She's pregnant." Maya's face softened. "That's huge. Are you happy?" "I should be." "Then why do you sound like you lost the lottery?" "Because I'm not sure it's mine," she inhaled. "Ethan," I checked the dates. "They don't match." I followed her. "You what?" she asked. "I saw her with Ryan at a hotel." Maya was quiet. "That's a lot." I'm gathering proof. "Messages, photos, receipts." "I won't explode in public." "Good, keep it quiet." "What's your plan?" "To be patient." "Patient?" "Yes, no rage." "I collect facts," Maya nodded. "Smart. Emotions ruin evidence." "I don't want to destroy her," I said. "I want her to destroy herself. Isn't that cruel?" she asked. "Maybe, but I want clarity, not theater." I moved like a shadow through the apartment. I took screenshots, copied emails, saved boarding passes found in drawers. I watched her laugh at dinner, saw guilt flash and vanish. One evening she caught me with a receipt. She smiled, nervous. "What are you doing with my things?" "Organizing," I lied. "You always need to control something. You disappeared. Don't start." Work became both refuge and trap. I pretended deadlines swallowed me whole. Maya watched me rearrange my life. "You can take leave," she suggested once. "No," I said. "I can't." "You should eat." She handed me a sandwich. Thanks, I muttered, biting it like medicine. She stayed late, helping with a project. We talked softly. Do you trust me? She asked. With everything, I said. Good. I don't want to watch you burn. I won't let it burn me, I promised. She squeezed my hand. If you need to blow up, call me first. I will. I laughed, brittle but grateful. I set up folders labeled evidence, dates, receipts. I printed messages and hid them in a box. I watched Ryan's company releases for patterns, called numbers on invoices pretending to be a client. Info came slowly. One night, Lena sat across from me. Her belly curved small under her sweater. She reached as if to touch my hand, then stopped. Ethan, are you angry? She asked. No, I lied. Why would I be? You've been taking pictures of me. I'm documenting things, I said. For what? For truth. Her eyes flashed. You think I'll run if you gather evidence? I don't know what I think anymore, she stood. What do you want from me? For honesty, she laughed, brittle. Honesty? You followed me, snooped. That's not honesty. It's not love either. You're trying to punish me. I'm trying to live. We stared at each other, exhausted. Then she reached the doorway and paused. Is that what you want? To watch me fall? No, my voice shook. I don't want to watch you suffer. I want the truth to land somewhere, she paused. And if the truth ruins everything, then it ruins what was already broken. She ran a hand through her hair. You always were dramatic, and you always were secretive. She closed her eyes for a moment. What will you do with your proof? Use it when it matters, I said. When silence costs me everything. She looked at me, eyes wet now. You'll leave. If I have to, I whispered. She reached out finally, and this time our fingers touched, brief and electric. Ethan, we can try to fix it. For the baby. For whom? I asked. For us. For what we promised. I want to believe you, I said. But belief isn't proof. Her hand slipped away. I'll prove it. How? I demanded. She didn't answer. She walked away. After the door closed, I opened my box of evidence. I spread photos, messages, and receipts across the table like a messy map. Each piece pointed to the same place. One day she will fall into the web she wove, and when the truth finally lands, I will stand away, not as victor, but simply released quietly. I won't destroy her, I whispered to the scattered papers. I'll let her destroy herself. The email arrived at dawn. No subject, no greeting, just attachments. Photos of Lena and Ryan, hotel receipts, flight logs, timestamps, every secret laid bare. My chest went tight, my fingers trembling as I scrolled. A final message sat at the bottom. She deserves the truth. L. Lucas, Ryan's assistant. I whispered to myself, guess even snakes turn on each other. I stared at the evidence for an hour before moving. My heart thudded as I drafted one email to Arthur Miller, Lena's father, the man who built her career. I attached everything. No explanation, no anger, just truth. Then I hit send. For a moment I felt nothing. Just silence. 3 days later, headlines exploded across business feeds. Miller and Hale Holdings faces scandal allegations. By day 4, Arthur's company board announced an internal investigation. By day 5, Lena's face vanished from the official site. That evening, the front door slammed open. She stood there, hair disheveled, eyes wild, voice shaking. You ruined me! I looked up from the couch slowly. Did I? You sent them, she screamed. The photos, the receipts, who else would do that? You've been spying on me like a jealous child. Jealous? I asked softly. You were pregnant with another man's child, Lena. Don't twist this. She shouted, pacing. You wanted revenge because I made one mistake. One mistake? My laugh came bitter. You made months of them, her voice cracked. You cost me everything, my job, my reputation, my father's trust. They're investigating me, Ethan. I could lose everything I built. I stood, finally facing her. You already lost what mattered. Don't you dare act righteous. She hissed. You loved the idea of exposing me. You wanted this. I wanted honesty, I said. I wanted the truth before I drowned in your lies. She grabbed the back of a chair, her knuckles white. How long were you planning this? Did you enjoy watching me suffer? I looked at her, really looked at her. The trembling lip, The mascara streaks, the desperation hiding behind fury. No, I said, but you needed to see what betrayal feels like. She stepped closer, eyes blazing. You think this makes you strong? You think ruining me gives you power? No, I whispered. It gives me peace. You think you're innocent? She spat. You think you didn't push me away first? You were never home, Ethan. You were too busy judging me to love me. I was trying to build a life for us. And I was trying to survive in mine. The room went quiet except for our uneven breathing. Finally, she whispered, You sent those files to my father? Yes, her face crumbled. Do you know what you've done? He's disowned me. I swallowed the guilt clawing at my throat. He deserved the truth too. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice turned sharp again. You destroyed my life. No, Lena, I said, calm and steady. You ruined yourself the day you chose him over me. Her hand flew before I saw it coming. The slap stung across my cheek, echoing in the room. For a moment, everything froze. I didn't move, didn't blink. She stared at me, shaking, waiting for a reaction, rage, a curse, a scream. But I gave her nothing. Finally, I said, Feel better? Her voice broke. You're cruel. No, I said, voice low. I'm finished. I turned and walked toward the hallway. Behind me, she sobbed, ragged, furious sobs that once would have torn me apart. But now they were just noise fading behind a closing door. In our bedroom, I stood before the mirror. The red mark on my face glowed under the soft light. I touched it, almost grateful. It felt like closure. Outside, I heard her footsteps, frantic. Ethan, wait! I stopped at the doorway. You think walking away fixes this? She cried. You think you'll be free after this? I already am, I said. For the first time, she laughed bitterly. You'll regret it. You'll miss me. I already did, I said quietly. But I'm done missing ghosts. Her silence stretched long, then soft sobbing replaced words. I picked up my keys. Goodbye, Lena, she whispered, barely audible. I never meant to hurt you. I looked back once. Intentions don't erase choices. Then I walked out. The night air hit cold against my skin. The world felt oddly still, like it was waiting for my next breath. I stood by my car, looking up at the sky. In that silence, I didn't feel anger or triumph, just release. Somewhere behind me, a door slammed again. But I didn't turn back. I had done enough looking backward for a lifetime. News spread faster than guilt. By Monday morning, every site had her face on it. CEO's daughter involved in scandal with business partner. The same woman who once smiled through television interviews now stared blankly from headlines. My phone buzzed nonstop. I turned it off. At work, Maya caught my sleeve. You've seen it, right? I nodded. I didn't think it would explode this fast. Scandals always do, she said softly. You okay? I don't know, I admitted. I thought I'd feel proud, but it just feels heavy. She placed a coffee in front of me. Guilt isn't proof of wrongdoing, Ethan. You exposed the truth. I stared into the cup. The truth destroyed her. No, Maya said. She destroyed herself. You just stopped covering the wreck. By afternoon, reports came that Ryan's company had lost major contracts. Investors pulled out. A press photo showed Ryan leaving an office building with his head down. Lena's name trended beside his. That night, Arthur Miller made a statement. He apologized to shareholders, vowed reform, and confirmed that Lena had been removed from her position. The phone rang once more. It was Grace. You saw the statement? Yeah. She begged him on camera, Ethan. He didn't even look at her. She made her choices. Grace sighed. You sound cold. I've been burned too long to stay warm. Days passed quietly after that. Maya stopped by often, always with food. She didn't talk about Lena unless I did. One evening, as the rain tapped against the window, she asked, Do you miss her? I exhaled slowly. Sometimes. Not her lies, not the way she made me doubt myself. Just the version I thought was real. That version never existed, Maya said gently. Maybe not. But I loved it anyway, she smiled sadly. That's what makes you human, I looked at her. And what makes you stay? She hesitated. Because I know what it's like to rebuild from ashes. Her eyes met mine, steady, kind. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like breaking. It was almost midnight when the knock came. 3 slow bangs, hesitant, familiar. When I opened the door, Lena stood there soaked to the bone, rain dripping from her hair. Her belly had grown since the last time I saw her. Her eyes were red, her voice trembling. "Ethan, please." I didn't move. "What do you want?" "He left me." She swallowed hard. "Ryan's gone. His number's disconnected. I have nowhere to go." "You have a family. My father won't even answer my calls. Maybe because he finally saw who you are." She took a shaky step forward. "I made mistakes. I lost everything. I don't need judgment, I need you." I clenched my jaw. "You needed me months ago." "I was scared," she said, crying harder. "I thought I could fix it before you found out. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You thought you could cheat consequences the way you cheated me." "Please don't do this," she whispered. "I have nothing." I looked down at her stomach, then back at her face. "That's what loyalty costs when built on lies." Her breath hitched. "You don't mean that." "I do." She grabbed my arm, desperate. "Ethan, you loved me once." "I still do," I said quietly. "But love doesn't mean rescue." She froze, rain dripping from her chin. "You're really closing the door?" "Yes. Where will I go?" "Wherever truth leads you," I said. Her eyes filled again. "I can't survive this." "You will," I said. "Just not with me." For a long moment we stood there, her crying, me unmoved, the rain filling the silence between every heartbeat. Finally, I said, "Goodbye, Lena." Her lips parted like she wanted to speak, but no words came. I closed the door slowly. The click echoed louder than her sobs outside. Leaning against the wood, I shut my eyes. My chest ached, but for once it wasn't from loss. It was from release. Through the window, I could still see her silhouette under the rain, small and broken. I didn't feel hate anymore, just distance. Maya's words replayed in my head. "You just stopped covering the wreck." I turned off the light. The sound of the storm faded behind me. 2 people had fallen that week, her from pride, me from love. But only one of us had learned to stand again. It had been 4 months since the night I closed the door on Lena. Life had grown quiet, almost peaceful. I'd started running again, drinking less, and letting Maya's laughter fill the gaps where pain used to live. Then the call came. "Mr. Cole?" The voice on the line was calm, professional. "This is Dr. Reed. Lena Miller just gave birth. She listed you as an emergency contact." For a second, I couldn't breathe. She had the baby?" "Yes, a healthy boy. 7 pounds, I swallowed." "Why call me?" She insisted. "Said you deserved to know." I almost hung up. But something inside me, the last trace of the man who once loved her, made me ask, "Is he mine?" Dr. Reed hesitated. "We ran the paternity test when she was admitted. I wanted to confirm it myself before saying anything." "And?" he exhaled. "He isn't yours, Ethan. I'm sorry." The words didn't cut. They simply settled like dust on a room long untouched. "Thank you," I said quietly. "Will you visit?" he asked. I didn't answer right away. Then, "Yeah, I think I need to." The hospital smelled like bleach and heartbreak. I followed the nurse down a narrow corridor, my footsteps echoing too loudly for a place so fragile. When I entered her room, Lena was sitting up, pale and tired, a small bundle resting in her arms. She looked smaller than I remembered, like the weight of everything had finally crushed her. She noticed me instantly. "You came." I did. She looked down at the baby. "He's beautiful, isn't he?" "He is." Silence lingered. Machines hummed. I could hear the rain starting outside, soft against the window. "I didn't think you'd want to see me," she whispered. "I didn't," I admitted. "But closure has its own pull." She tried to smile, but failed. "Dr. Reed told you, didn't he?" I nodded. "He did." Tears welled in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Ethan." "For what?" "For everything. For lying. For using you. For making you hate me." "I don't hate you," I said. "Not anymore," her voice cracked. "Then what do you feel?" I took a slow breath. Sadness. Not for what we lost, but for how little you understood love. She flinched, clutching the baby closer. "I thought I loved you. You loved what I gave you, security, loyalty, someone who believed in you. You didn't love me." "I was scared," she said quietly. "Ryan promised things my father never did. I thought I was choosing freedom. And instead you built a cage," I said. She nodded weakly, tears falling onto the blanket. He left before the baby came. I keep hoping he'll call, I stared at her. He won't. I know, she whispered. I just can't accept it yet. The baby stirred in her arms, letting out a soft cry. She hushed him gently. He doesn't deserve this, none of it. Then give him better, I said. Don't raise him on guilt. Raise him on truth. She looked up at me, searching my face. You'd make a better father than he ever will. I shook my head. Maybe, but that's not my role anymore. Her lip trembled. You could hold him, if you want. For a moment, I almost said yes. But then I remembered every sleepless night, every lie, every time she'd smiled while I was breaking. No, I said softly. That moment belongs to someone else now. She nodded slowly, understanding. Do you hate him too? He's innocent, I said. He's proof that you'll always have to face what you built. Her tears fell freely now. I don't know how to fix myself. Start by being honest, I said. With yourself, with him. Stop pretending life owes you redemption. She gave a shaky laugh. You sound like my father. I sound like a man who finally learned how to stop saving people who don't want saving. The baby cooed softly, unaware of the wreckage around him. I took one last look, at her, at him, at the version of my life that could never exist. I hope someday, I said quietly. You understand what love really means. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Ethan, she whispered, will you ever forgive me? I already did, I said. That's why I'm walking away. I turned toward the door. Behind me, her sobs filled the sterile room, mingling with the faint cry of her newborn. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sky was clearing, a thin line of sunlight pushing through gray clouds. For the first time, it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like the birth of truth. The days blurred into one another for a while, quiet mornings, steady evenings, and long walks that didn't ache anymore. Pain had turned into something softer, something that didn't burn but hummed quietly in the background. Grace showed up one Sunday with a box of my old paints. She dropped it on my table and crossed her arms. You're doing this, I raised a brow. Doing what? Painting. You used to breathe color. Now you just drink coffee and stare at the wall. I smirked faintly. Therapy sessions cost less than cleaning brushes, she pointed at me. Ethan, stop hiding behind sarcasm. I'm not hiding, I'm regrouping. Regrouping my ass, she said, grabbing a brush. You've rebuilt companies, relationships, reputations, but you still won't rebuild yourself. I sighed. You sound like Dad. Then he was right. Her words stuck. That evening, when she left, I sat in front of a blank canvas. My hand trembled as I dipped the brush in blue. It had been years, but the movement felt like breathing again. When I finished the first stroke, something unclenched inside me. The next day at work, Maya found me sketching during lunch. Is that new? She asked, peering over my shoulder. Yeah, I said. Grace bullied me into it. Good for her, she said, smiling. It suits you. It's messy. So are you, she teased. I chuckled. Fair point. She sat across from me, stirring her coffee. You've changed lately. How so? You're lighter, she said. Like someone finally opened a window inside you. Maybe I just ran out of bitterness. That's growth, she said softly. Bitterness is exhausting, I looked at her. You talk like you've been there. I have, she said. Different story, same poison. There was something in her eyes, gentle, patient, real. The kind of steadiness I hadn't seen in a long time. I smiled. Thanks for listening all those nights. You'd have done the same for me, she said. I hope so, I murmured. You've been my anchor without realizing it. She blushed slightly. Careful, Ethan, you're starting to sound poetic, I laughed. Occupational hazard of a man rediscovering paint. Then keep rediscovering, she said, standing. The world looks better when you do. Weeks passed and the colors in my studio multiplied. My walls bloomed with pieces that didn't try to impress anyone, they just told the truth. One evening, Grace dropped by again. She looked around wide-eyed. Wow, you actually did it. Guess I ran out of excuses. She smiled softly. You're finally living again. Feels weird, I admitted. Peaceful but weird. That's what healing is, she said. It's boring until it's beautiful, I chuckled. That sounds like something Maya would say. She's good for you. I know, I said quietly. But I'm not rushing anything, I just... Like the quiet between us, Grace nodded. Then keep it that way. Not every connection needs to burn to mean something. I looked at the painting in front of me, a swirl of blue fading into gold. This one's called Release, she smiled. Fitting. That night I sat by the window, brush in hand, city lights stretching out like 1,000 tiny stories. I thought about Lena, how her voice used to fill every corner of my world. Now it was just a memory, one that didn't hurt anymore. Maya's words echoed in my mind. Bitterness is exhausting. I whispered into the quiet. You were right. I no longer hated Lena. I didn't even resent her. I just pitied the version of her that believed love was something to exploit instead of protect. I turned back to the canvas, painting slow, steady strokes of white. Some lies grow inside you, I murmured, watching the paint dry. Until truth is the only thing that can kill them. And for the first time in years, I felt completely alive. The ocean always sounded like forgiveness. Soft, endless, patient. I stood there with the letter in my hand, the paper fluttering in the salt breeze. Lena's handwriting was still the same, elegant, careful, controlled. Ethan, I've moved away. The baby is healthy. I'm starting over. I hope someday you can forgive me. No apology could ever undo what she'd done, yet reading it didn't hurt the way it used to. I folded the letter once, then again, and let the wind carry it away. Footsteps crunched behind me. Maya's voice came softly, blending with the waves. You've been out here a while? Yeah, I said. Just saying goodbye. She stepped beside me, her coat brushing mine. Lena? I nodded. She moved. Sent a letter. Are you going to write back? I shook my head. No point. There's nothing left to say. Maya looked out at the water. Closure doesn't always need words. Exactly, I said. Sometimes silence says everything. The tide crept forward, cool foam curling around our shoes. The air smelled of salt and endings. Maya broke the quiet again. Do you regret not fighting harder for her? I took a deep breath, watching the horizon blur into gold. No, I fought enough. I fought for years without realizing I was the only one swinging. She tilted her head. You still talk like a man who loved deeply. I did, I admitted. But love isn't about holding on when it's already gone. It's about knowing when to let the wreckage sink. Maya smiled faintly. Poetic as ever. Bad habit, I said with a half smile. Good one, she countered. Means you feel things instead of burying them. Maybe, I murmured. But sometimes feeling too much nearly destroyed me. Yet here you are, she said. Yeah, I whispered. Here I am, the gulls screamed overhead, distant and free. I watched them trace the horizon like little pieces of peace. For the first time, I didn't imagine Lena standing beside me. I didn't replay what went wrong. I just breathed. Maya slipped her hands into her pockets. Grace told me you're planning an exhibit. I chuckled. She can't keep secrets. She's proud of you, Maya said. So am I. I looked at her, really looked at her. The wind tangled her hair, sunlight painting gold along her cheekbones. You stayed when I had nothing to give, I said. You never owed me anything, she said gently. I just wanted you to remember who you were. I think I finally do. Then that's enough. We fell quiet again, the kind of silence that feels like understanding. I turned toward the water, watching the waves erase a pair of footprints someone had left before us. You see that? I asked. Maya nodded. The tide? Yeah, I said. It's erasing everything. No matter how deep the marks, it always finds a way to start over. She smiled. Like you. Maybe, I said softly. Maybe that's what healing really is, letting the tide take what doesn't belong anymore. A long pause passed between us. Then she said, What will you do now? Keep painting. Keep breathing. Maybe keep walking beside you for a while if that's okay. Her eyes met mine, warm and sure. That's more than okay. The sky darkened slowly, turning the water into glass. I let the last of the letter go, a tiny white scrap swallowed by the sea. I whispered to the waves, not in bitterness, but in gratitude. She said business meeting, remember? Maya frowned lightly. What? I smiled faintly. That was the first lie, the one that started it all. She stayed silent, letting me finish the thought. I watched the horizon fade into twilight. But that lie, I said quietly, gave birth to my truth. And as the last light dipped beneath the waves, I finally understood. Some endings don't break you. They rebuild you in ways you never imagined.